Welcome everyone to Vital Life Energy Formulas, and it is Q&A day today, and those of you who have any questions, feel free to come on and put your hand up and ask any questions if you like, or you can type it into the questions and answers platform along the Zoom platform along the bottom of the toolbar. Vital Life Energy, in association with the church too, we don't treat, diagnose, cure, profess a cure of any sort of disease. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Here we go. Jeff wanted me to share with you all something that his wife, Elaine Campbell, wrote. And I'm going to start the Q&A off today with the writing that she wrote to me and to share with you all. The beauty of our program is we teach people how to navigate life, how to understand our strengths and weaknesses, our genetic makeup, our traumas, our deep-seated emotions, and the effect that genetics and trauma have on our health. We have to be disciplined in our life and create healthy boundaries for ourselves so we can grow, change, and heal. That is exactly explaining how and what we do with the program. I got a message from Sarah, and I'm going to read this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see that I can focus on my strengths. It makes all the difference to focus on my strengths. Thanks for always being so encouraging and insightful. So that's what we're doing with the Vital Life Energy program. Okay, now I want to start with today, unless anyone has any questions, I'm just reading somebody's text message. Okay, that they started their new program without the added formulas, which is no problem. Okay, I want to start with today because there's been a lot of histamine reactions. A lot of people getting all of a sudden. One lady I was talking to yesterday had a bee sting and it blew up and she ended up bruising and it was really, really, itchy. And she had a bee sting probably about a month ago, and then she's had another one within that month. And so she said it didn't blow up, or she didn't react as she did on the first. It was better, the reaction she had on the second sting. So that shows the immune system, and the mast cells. And that's what I want to share about. See, mast cells, they're a type of white blood cell, and they're found in connective tissue all through the body, especially under the skin, near blood vessels, lymph vessels, nerves, lungs, and intestine. What these mast cells do, they play an important role in how the immune system responds to certain bacteria, parasites, and they help control other types of immune responses. They contain cytokines, and they also have histamine and heparin, all right, as well as they are very important for growth factors as well. They actually release chemicals during an allergic reaction and certain immune responses. The chemicals have many effects, including the widening of the blood vessels. During an allergic reaction, they can cause a flushing and a reddening of the skin, obviously in the face, and itching. And when there's a large amount of these mast cells being released, they can cause abdominal cramps, muscle pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, low blood pressure, and also shock. Mast cells are a very important part of our body's immune system. Now, a lot of people have been going through certain allergic reactions. There was a lady in Hawaii just on Wednesday who all of a sudden had this band across her knuckles, discoloration in her skin, like it looked bruised. And of course, she went to the doctors and they said it was, osteoarthritis. And of course, histidine in the program, the Peace and Tranquility and the AB, and which is the adrenal boost, the adrenal support formula, the branch chain formula, the cellular energy formula, they have histidine, as well as, the SC stem cell formula, heart and muscle, HM. They have histidine. You'll see there's a lot of histidine through the formulas. And that histidine uptakes the histamine. Histidine activates more red and white blood cells. It's important for the tranquil alpha waves of the brain. And so the synovial fluid, which of course is where these mast cells, they are in the connective tissue, need the histidine to regulate and uptake the histamine, as well as important for both red and white blood cells dealing with the cytokines. Another person yesterday in Switzerland was asking what amino acids of the program activate lymphocytes. Now that's the ARG formula, and that's a natural growth hormone releaser. When we're talking about natural growth hormone releases, we're talking about the bone marrow and the stem cells within the bone marrow that activate the T cells, red blood cells, white blood cells, lymphocytes. But also the glutamine, that's a lot of, we have a lot in the different formulas. Again, glutamine's in the heart and muscle, it's in the SC stem cell formula, it's in the BC, it's in the CE, it's in quite a lot of the formulas. And that L-glutamine is also very important for increasing your lymphocytes. So when your blood test is coming back with low levels of those particular white blood cells, which we have different white blood cells, just like I'm explaining about the mast cells. We have neutrophils, which are an important part of the bone marrow and the white blood cells activated within the bone marrow. We have eosinophils, which deal with the lungs and deal with also allergic reactions. T cells, which you hear us speak all about. You got monocytes. So there's quite a lot of different immune cells that from the bone marrow, from the stem cells, from the ARG, all the different formulas I'm talking about that have the L-glutamine in it. The methionine also is very important for your lymphocytes. Tryptophan, which that's the premium prebiotic protein powder that we have, that's the one that you get the tryptophan in. And these are important for activating the lymphocytes that a man in Switzerland was asking about, because his blood panels came back showing low lymphocytes. Again, as I was reading what Ellen wrote about what the program is doing, is it's helping navigate us, each one of us through life, and understanding all of our strengths and weaknesses, and our genetic strengths and our genetic weaknesses, also traumas, and obviously deep-seated emotions that obviously can affect our genetics and our health, because these traumas can affect our health. And that's what we're helping everybody with, is in the program, and of course the different questions that come up that I'm sharing about and what we're dealing with, and helping everybody and supporting each other so that we can all, which is what Ellen was actually sharing, that we can all grow, change, and heal. I was sharing also about a lady in the UK who actually had a, she has Parkinson's. And, she was getting shooting pains, in her feet, and burning sensation in her feet. And she's been on the amino acids now for over, 4 months, I think, 4 to 5 months. And that inflammation she was getting with the burning and shooting in her feet has now subsided. It only comes on every now and again. Now, we're not treating the Parkinson's. We're activating the body to produce the natural growth hormone dopamine, because that's what the person is deficient in, and, is genetic too. There was a young lady that just started with us just recently here in San Diego, and in her iris, when we read the iris, we could see that she had a genetic weakness in the pituitary gland. And she's been to doctors because she's having hormonal imbalances, and they say in her blood she has excess parathyroid gland. Now, the pituitary is the master gland to all the glands, and so as the iris was showing the genetic weakness in the pituitary, the symptom of the parathyroid is to do with the pituitary. As we're sharing, all of these endocrine glands work together as a hormonal network, communicating back and forth and compensating and sending the hormones out, whatever the body needs at whatever time. So understanding our strengths and understanding our weaknesses, and that's the dopamine, which is what the program's doing for all of us, is to activate the natural growth hormone, the dopamine, and that pathway, that metabolic pathway of the dopamine for the lady that's having the symptoms of the Parkinson's with the burning and shooting pain in her feet. Now, dopamine, and we all hear about the gut-brain axis. Dopamine's made in the colon, okay? So the dopamine, 80% of it's made in the ascending transverse colon. And so the program's helping each one of us to produce that dopamine, setting up the metabolic pathway of the dopamine. And that dopamine's our drive, it's our alertness, it's our feel good, it's our, calming at the same time, which is what somebody else was sharing, is that they felt, that they could think clearer, they weren't as brain fogged. And that's the dopamine. As I was sharing, we're not treating the disease of any Parkinson's, we're giving the body what it needs to make the natural growth hormone, and that growth hormone is the dopamine, which of course the condition that the person has is low dopamine. I had an appointment with somebody a couple of days ago, and they made the formula up using up the powders they still have that they didn't order in the new order, and that were in the first formula update that I gave up on Monday. And after the discussion, is that okay? Yes. What to do is, if you have any leftover powders as the program gets adjusted, depending on what you're going through, you want to use that up. If you've already got a pre-mix, that's also what happens is, we'll do a follow-up with somebody and then we adjust their program and they've got pre-made powders. Just a suggestion is just use those up and switch into the new program when you run out of those formulas. And some people like to put those ones aside and then, start on the new program straight away. Again, either way, is fine, okay? It's all natural. It's nutritional supplements. That's what the program is. So you can't go wrong. So yes, no problem what you're doing. And then you just switch into that new program when you finish or run out of the other formulas that you might still have. Another question that came up to this week as I'm sharing about the Q&A was somebody was asking me about the different how the powders run out at different times, okay? And, they come, some are, half full, some are right full to the top, and why is that, okay? Now, here in the United States, when you're selling supplementation, it has to be registered. It has to be, you have to go through, FDA registered, it has to be approved, it's got to be registered, and each batch that gets made is tested. And it's tested before you can sell it to make sure that it has the pure nutrients. So because of the requirements of the FDA and it all being tested and registered, that's what's required, is it goes by weight, 75 grams. Now, the different ingredients in the formulas is the reason that the bottles, and the powder that's in the bottle, some seem like half full and the others are full to the brim, right? That's because of the different ingredients. Some are more dense, some are more light and fluffy of the powders, depending on different minerals that are in the combination of the amino acids, as well as the vitamins, is also what contributes to the density or the light fluffiness of the different formulas that we're taking of the Vital Life Energy program. So that's what I wanted to share. It was a question that came up by somebody asking, actually in the UK, because they have to buy some, one 6 weeks and then to buy some other things, and they wanted to be able to get it all in one go, and that's not what the FDA is required with weight. Is, it's tested, approved, registered, and then to each batch that is made is then goes through testing to make sure that the nutrients you're getting is the purest nutrients. So any questions anyone has? Okay, so the questions asking here is somebody's been taking and having 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, and how does that compare to 1 teaspoon of each? We're just using the 1 teaspoon for a mild, it's slow, we're not wanting the gallbladder to purge, or shall we say your liver to purge and your gallbladder to dump. So that's the reason we do less of the oil, and doing it consistently, regularly, as it builds each day and it accumulates. So if that's something that you're feeling is helping you, but also be aware that if all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of bile dumping from the gallbladder, which can make you feel a bit nauseous when that happens, or you have to run to the toilet and it's quite explosive, or you're getting pain in where your pancreas is, then you're getting too much of the oil, and the oil is getting the gallbladder and the liver to purge and the gallbladder to dump. See, we do it at a much milder level, slow and steady. You've heard Jeff share that, many, many times. It's slow and steady. As we do that, regularly. I don't know if you were on with the call last week with the question about the lady who had some gallstones, over 100 of them, and she's been doing that 1 teaspoon of lemon juice and 1 to 2 teaspoons of olive oil, and she went and had an ultrasound, and the gallstones had disappeared. She only had 2 tiny small gallstones, and the person administering, the technician that was administering the ultrasound, couldn't believe it and just had to keep going back and checking it, and they just couldn't believe it. So it is a slow and steady, and what happens is if you get too much of the oil, it will get the liver to purge and it will get your gallbladder to dump. The purification has been updated for those of you who might want a copy of the purification, the diet. Now, obviously, we're going into summer here, and so as we've sprung forward with you all down in the southern, you've fallen back, so you're going to the shorter day of the year, and it's darker earlier. So the purification has been updated by Jeff, Ellen, and Jeff and Ellen. And so if any of you are interested in wanting to get the purification, we can definitely send that to you. I had somebody that just started recently, about a week ago, on the purification, and they had a rash down their forearms, and the rash has disappeared. They also had some high blood pressure, imbalance, and so their blood pressure has come back down to normal. Like it's, shows you, when you alkalize the blood by doing the fruits and vegetables and following the purification, how it helps with the dilation of the blood vessels, the constriction of the heart muscle, and the relaxation of the heart muscle. So that's just in 1 week, and their blood pressure is normalized. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share. I hope that answered your questions about the olive oil. And just be aware, if you get too much, you'll have your gallbladder purge, liver purged, and gallbladder dump. Just be aware of that. Those of you that have any questions too, and if I'm not able to help you with your questions, I will take it to Jeff for you, and then him and I will go over it, and then I'll come back to you with any answers that Jeff might have for you. if I'm unable to share some of the questions that you have and I'm not able to answer that for you. It's a way I get to learn too. I love that we get to learn every single day. Okay, any other questions for anyone? All right, well, if there isn't any other questions, wish you all a wonderful weekend. Wherever you are, enjoy. And we'll look forward to seeing you again. We do the questions and answers for a group and support for you all so we can all learn, grow, and heal together. So feel free to, send any questions you have. We're here for you. Enjoy your weekend. Have a beautiful day. Bye, everyone.